I'm the director of Common Knowledge Trust. I have this strange name called Wintergreen. And in the early 1970s, I and hundreds of families developed a skills-based approach to childbirth called Birthing Better with a Pink Kit Method. Some months ago, I was contacted by this woman, didn't know who she was, and she asked me to participate in something that she was doing in the work that she did as an entrepreneur. And we corresponded, and it turned out that she had used the Pink Kit in her birth. In fact, she was a Pink Kit affiliate. I had no idea. And so I got in touch with her, and then she interviewed me in the work that she did, and I asked her whether she would be comfortable in telling all of you her Pink Kit story. She lives in Italy. I live in New Zealand. I have an American accent because I grew up in America. But it's quite remarkable what the internet can do. And so I just want to really welcome you, Sylvia, and to thank you for wanting to speak publicly about such an intimate experience in your life. And so I just give it to you to tell your story the way that you would like others to hear it.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak my story and hopefully to empower other women around pregnancy and childbirth. Well, I knew you long before you met me, and this is because of the Pink Kit. I used the Pink Kit for my second pregnancy, and I bought it soon after I found out I was pregnant. And along the months of the pregnancy, I slowly started to study the Pink Kit and find out what was more interesting to me and what did resonate more with me. Personally, what the Pink Kit helped me to do, it is really to give birth. I learned how to give birth through the Pink Kit. I used a few of the things that are listed in the Pink Kit, as the Pink Kit is a very huge resource, plenty of tips, plenty of information. So I really got what was better for me. And in particularly, I used the bell shape curve for the contractions, as I didn't know the contractions were really kind of wave that went on in stages. So I learned to dance with contractions. And this really helped me to go through the first part, the first stage of my labor. I use the belly shape curve for contractions because I was able to dance with contractions, and I've learned that I could surrender to them instead of fighting them. And this helped me to go much faster and easier during the first part of my labor. I decided to give birth to the hospital, and when I arrived there, my baby was already engaged. Another thing that was really helpful to me was about the birth plan. So before my baby was born, let's say around week 37, 38 of the pregnancy, I started to write down what I really wished to accomplish during my childbirth. But there was a difference. It wasn't a list of I want and I don't want. It was a kind of love letter that I did write, first of all, to myself, to my body, to my baby. And then a love letter that I shared with my birthing team. So they already know when I arrive at the hospital what I was committed to do. This was the difference. It wasn't a list of I want or I don't want, but a list of what I am committed to do during childbirth. So when my midwife saw this letter, she was really impressed. And she said, she didn't know anything about the pink kit. No one I was talking with, they knew about the pink kit, about this method. So I was really a kind of pioneer. And my midwife was really impressed, and she shared it with the other members of the staff. So when I arrived at the hospital and during my stay there, everyone knew what I wanted in my heart, what I was committed to do to make my childbirth the best experience ever, according to what I knew and according to what I wanted to do. And I was willing to share as well with them. Another thing that I find very helpful, and then I've learned through the Pink Kit, is to use a common language. A common language to let the other people know about my feelings, about what is happening in my body, so the other people can respond to me at the best. I dare say that finally the Pink Kit changed my life because it changed the way I approached childbirth. It really made me aware of my skills, and it helped me to use them, to be confident in using them, because I didn't know how to respond to my body. I didn't know what the signals that my body was giving me did mean. I didn't know that a contraction was the signal that my womb was working together with my baby to help me to bring my baby out of my body. So this is basically what I found to be so helpful and so powerful at the same time through the Pink Kit for my own birthing experience.
Sylvia, thanks for sharing that about your second birth. When we met before we did the interview that you did with me, you talked about your first birth. And perhaps you could share with people about your first birth. As you know, there are people who have felt traumatized by their first birth, and then certainly people who've used the Pink Kit have done so in order to improve their birth experience by being skilled. But you had a good first birth, and you were a woman who had done a lot of research and who used a lot of other resources out there. And we know the Pink Kit works with all resources, but could you share with people about sort of what your experience in your first birth was, and then what were the gaps that caused you to be open to look at the Pink Kit, and how did the skills in the Pink Kit fill in those gaps?
Yes, I had a pleasurable first birth experience. My approach was totally different. I went to a prenatal course and I exercised myself. I prepared myself to the childbirth with meditation, visualization, relaxation, affirmations, because there was one thing that I knew and I was clear with myself. And that thing was, I want a vaginal childbirth. This is what I wanted. So I did a little bit of preparation work, but no one explained to me how to give birth. And I went to the hospital, I went through my first childbirth with this idea in mind. Okay, I prepare myself to whatever can come up, but I wasn't aware about how to give birth. I mean, how to practically give birth, what to do with my body, how to deal with contractions, how to speak to people around me. And I just thought, when the moment will come, I will be ready, I will know what to do. Well, in my experience, this is true 50%. Because I think that, you know, as women, yes, we got an instinct to give birth, but there is a part of knowledge that must come with this instinct as well. So what I lacked was the knowledge about how my body worked, the knowledge about what a contraction means, and basically what happened to my baby as well while he was coming down from my body and out to the world. So I was aware of myself, let's say around 60–70%. I knew that my mind could do a lot of work, but maybe I was a bit disconnected to my body. And you know, we are a mix, a perfect mix of 4 dimensions. There is the mind, the body, the soul, and the heart. And these 4 dimensions, they all work together while we are giving birth, because they are all intertwined in ourselves, all during our life long, you know. So when you give birth, it's simply a moment of your life, and these 4 dimensions are there with you. So I was there maybe more with my mind, with you know, the power of my mind. And maybe I thought that this power would have helped me to deal with all the things that were coming up during childbirth. But I really lacked the knowledge and the connection with my body. So at the end of my childbirth, my first childbirth, I mean, I felt a hero. I felt very powerful because at the end I had my vaginal childbirth, but there were some details that I did want to improve. And you know, when I gave birth the first time, this wasn't really clear in my mind. I wasn't really clear with that. But then during the months of parenthood, I grew up together with my baby. And so when I conceived my second baby, my personal evolution was at another stage than it was at my first pregnancy. So when I arrived at my second pregnancy, I thought, well, now I'm a little bit more clear about what I want. I still want a vaginal childbirth, but I want to be even more in charge of this experience. I want to use my body more and to be connected with the other dimensions of myself. So I knew about the pink kit because I actually discovered it just a few days before to give birth to my first baby. So the pink kit was there, and I said, okay, this is the time I can use it. And so I did. And basically, this is the gap that I feel, you know, the lack of knowledge about how my body worked and about the signals that I could understand, the signals that came from my body, and I can work with them to really make my childbirth easier. For example, a very clear difference it was that all during my first labor, I simply pushed. I pushed almost from the beginning till the end of labor, so until my baby was born. During my second labor, the first part, until my baby was engaged, until the head was engaged in the birth canal, I simply surrendered to contractions. I literally danced with them. And this allowed my baby to swim, down to my body until my birth canal. And as I said before, when I arrived to the hospital, the baby was already there, ready to come out from my body. But what I want to underline is that I have a pleasurable and wonderful memory of both my births. What was different was my personal evolution. As a woman and a human being, I evolved, and not only because I went through the childbirth, but because I went through life simply. So I believe that we change during our lifetime, and my awareness was different. And that brought me to choose the pink kit and to practice the pink kit and use it. Not only to have it there on the shelf, and look at it, but use it, practice. To me, childbirth, it is a spiritual activity, but it is also a physical activity. So we need to do something. We need to be active when we are giving birth. We can't sit down and say, okay, I wait for contractions. When they will come, I will know what to do. For me, it's no. You need to prepare yourself. You can prepare yourself. There are resources out there. There are people out there who can help you. And of course, it's your choice, because another thing that is very important to me, it is that we need to respect the mother's choice. If the mother doesn't want to prepare herself, it's her own choice, because at the end, it's her own body, her own baby, her own birthing experience. So as a doula as well as I am, this is very important to me. To me, it was important to be prepared, to prepare myself. And so I did.
Birth stories move people. And it's always been very important over the past 45 years for me as the director of the trust to have people come forward and talk about the pink kit. I listen very carefully, and what I notice is that it's really quite hard for people. Internally, we know why the skills in the pink kit are different. But when we try to explain that out our mouths, we have a tendency to use words that are common in childbirth. And so one question I'd like to ask you, because I have another question that's coming after this one, but this first question I want to ask you is, often people will say to me, and have said to me over the years, oh, skills. Sure, everybody should have information. Sure, everybody should be educated. Sure, knowledge is great. And I say to them, those aren't the same thing as skills. That we have to define skills as a separate thing, not saying they are just something that's knowledge, right? So do you have a way of being able to explain to people about the difference between gathering information, feeling knowledgeably prepared, and having the skills to do the activity? How, when you speak to other people, do you hear yourself being able to really clearly say, the word skills over and over again as separate from knowledge and information?
Well, I think, and I want to give a practical example here. When we come to the world as babies, I mean, we all have skills. Let's say potentially we can read, we can talk, we can walk, we can write. So we got these skills inside ourselves. And these skills simply lay a kind of dormant at the beginning of our life. But then what happens? It happens then we spend our time very close to someone who had already known these skills before us, and in a certain way who teaches us how to use them and to become aware of them as well. And this person is our mother. Let's talk in general, because not all the babies maybe have a mother close to them when they come to the world. You know, there are different stories, many stories out there. So let's say we come to the world and we got all these skills inside ourselves, and potentially we can do anything we want. But to learn to speak, to walk, to write, we need to learn. So we need an external resource from us that teaches us how to use our skills and to become aware of them. And this is what happens with childbirth. It's the same, and it's pretty much as I just mentioned before. As women, we've got an instinct to give birth, but we need to learn as well how to do it. And this is exactly what happened to me. I am the living proof of this. Because, you know, my first childbirth, I went there with my potential skills inside myself, but I didn't ignite them. So I used the pink kit to ignite the skills. And the pink kit is an external resource. The pink kit was like my mother, let's say, the mother who taught me how to give birth. So as women, we've got these skills inside ourselves, but we need to activate them. So skills are that we can open up to let the baby come down and then out of our body. The skills is that we can use our language to speak to the other people what we need and what's happening to us, in order for the other people to understand what's happening and which kind of help to give us. So the skills are, the birthing skills are inside ourselves. But, you know, if you are not aware of them, and if you don't know how to use them, you can't use them. And you can't really have the outcome you really want. I think that skills are really interconnected with the 4 dimensions I was talking before, you know. It's a kind of 5th sense, maybe, if I can call them like this. So skills are inside ourselves, but we need to get used to them. We need to practice them in advance before to give birth. And this is what happened to me, because for my second childbirth, I practiced in advance. I practiced relaxation. I practiced the connection with my body and with my baby as well. I went through the internal massage as well, that prepared my birth canal to be more soft and stretchable, and to open up fully to receive my baby. So, you know, there are really many things that we can do. The wonderful thing for me is that there are things that we can do. And these things are explained in the pink kit. So you as woman, this is a message that I really want to share with all the women who are listening to us. You as woman have got the skills inside you. So potentially you can achieve whatever outcome you deeply desire for your childbirth. And even if something goes in a different way, again, you got skills to deal with what comes up, wherever the circumstance. So you got these skills inside yourself, but you need to become aware of them, to know them, and to practice them. You need to get familiar with them. And this happens before to give birth. So nature gave you 9 months to give birth. It's not that you conceive your baby and the day after or 1 week after you give birth to the baby. You got 9 months to prepare yourself. You know, I'm a strong believer and a strong supporter of Mother Nature. I think that if for thousands and thousands of years women gave birth through their vagina, and because of our body is exactly designed, it is perfectly designed for us to give birth through the vagina, we can do it. And now it's 2014, you know, and we've got many resources out there that we can use to help ourselves first. Because giving birth, it's an affair that calls you to be the protagonist, you and your baby. It's a loving affair with your body, yourself first, and your baby, and then the other people around you. So you got the skills, but you need to activate them, and the choice is yours.
Sylvia, that was such a wonderful explanation. I've never heard anybody articulate it that way. We all have slightly different ways of explaining this, but it was very precious. And recently, we've been calling that those skills internally like precursor skills. They're there and they have to be activated. What we hope people can hear in you, which is that connection of however you define these internal elements of ourself, that being able to couple our mind with our body, being able to couple our awareness and consciousness to subtle choices we make in our body because we have activated those precursor skills inside us and practice them so that we can soften inside our right hip, for instance, and know that we're doing it, or to adjust our leg just in the right way to relax muscles that control the sacrum, or to know that at every phase of a contraction we can adjust and modify the skills we're using. And you said it so beautifully. I mean, really, just so beautifully. And I just feel so grateful to have you articulate it from your viewpoint, because as you know, we said in the beginning, you and I don't know each other. So you're speaking to me across the world, and we're human beings that blink and cough and tighten up our rectum, and you and I share a common language. And when birth professionals see skilled families, they always relax, even if there are medical procedures or assessments or monitoring. So when we can grow a skilled birthing population where more families can go into birth in a skilled manner, they will be able to speak a lot better with their birth providers, and their birth providers will enjoy the experience more. And so the last question I wanted to ask you is to have you talk about um, the power of choice. And it's sort of like two circles. And in our mind of the trust, it's like choice is a circle and skills are a circle. And somewhere they have this interface, right? And somewhere skills can be used whether you have choice or not. And choice isn't always unfolds the way you'd like it, right? When it does, and you say, I got everything I wanted, you know, where we all go, yay for you, you know. So I understand where skills are fundamental, they're always there for you to use, and where choices can be temperamental. But do you have thoughts that you'd like to share? You're so articulate, and I just would really like to pick your brain.
After my childbirth, I started to meet a lot of women, new moms. You know, I attended new moms circles. And what I found out, it was that in a way or another, there was always something that went wrong with their childbirth experiences. Maybe a little detail. Uh, there was a kind of disappointment. There were words of fear in their speeches and pain as well. So I looked inside myself and I said, well, I think that childbirth is the most amazing thing I've done in my life. And I felt so empowered. I felt on top of the world. I felt that after that experience, I could do anything. If I was able to give birth to my baby through my body, then I was able to do anything else in my life. So a question popped up in my mind, and I asked myself, why are those women speaking like this? Why are we going through challenges during childbirth that is the most natural thing of a woman's life? Because, as I said previously, I believe that we are designed to give birth. I mean, we as women have got a body that it is designed to give birth to a human being, to bear a life inside our body and then to give birth to a human being. So, you know, I was asking myself these questions. Why is this happening? Why are women disappointed with their birthing experience? And something else popped up in my mind, and I said, well, I am satisfied about my birth. So maybe these experiences of mine came for a reason, not only to fulfill myself and my babies and my family, but maybe to help the world, to help other women as well, and to approach to childbirth as naturally as possible. And for naturally, I don't mean vaginally. There is a difference. For naturally, I mean exactly what the mother wants. Because there are mothers who doesn't want to give birth vaginally. They prefer to have a cesarean. There are mothers who want to give birth at the hospital, some others who want to do it at home. So we are different, we got different needs, and all of them must be respected to me. So my mission is really to empower women through this amazing experience that is to give birth to our baby, no matter how it will unfold. But there is something that must be there, according to me, of course. And this is the mother's will. what does the mother want? What do you want when it comes to your childbirth? So when you get clear about what you want, then you can start to explore the ways to accomplish what you want. And then people will come your way, and then resources will come your way, tools will come your way. But first of all, you need to be clear. It's like a chain, you know. Everything happens after the other. There is one step after the other. The first step is to get clear about what you want. This is, of course, my opinion. I want to underline this, you know, as many times as possible, because this is my experience. I talk through my experiences, of course, and this is my point of view. So I'm not here to say it's like this and that's it. I'm here to say there are as many options as many women out there. Each childbirth, each pregnancy, each woman is different and unique. But to me, the first thing is to get clear about what you want as pregnant woman. So when you become clear about this, then all the rest will be much easier. And when you become clear, you search for resources and tools, you meet people who can help you, automatically you start to empower yourself. So you arrive at the due date, you know, the big day, the childbirth day, empowered. And what I've experienced in my own childbirth is that when you are clear with yourself, when you feel strong, sure of yourself, you feel empowered, then the world around you mirrors you. You know, there is a saying that if you want to see the world change, you need to change first. This is true. So if you empower yourself, the other people, your birthing team, your partner, your family, your friends, they are all empowered as well. But the little seed must be planted inside you first. And then, you know, the tree blooms and everyone can see the wonderful fruits and everyone can enjoy the fresh shadow of the tree. So this is, you know, what I believe. We've got the skills inside ourselves and we need to get clear and aware about them. Sometimes it's very difficult when you're not aware of them. How can you know that you got the skills? And this is the point where people like me and you show up and can help other women. And I think that the power that we got, thanks to our experience and thanks to our knowledge and wisdom and the wisdom we gain along our life, is to spread the word. We need to spread the word because there are women who doesn't know about the skills. They got them, but they don't know about them. So they need to be taught about them. And I believe this is our mission. I believe that if we went through our birthing experiences, and for all the things we've learned so far in our life, we've got this mission, this thing that we need to share. We need to spread the message amongst women of the world, because the pink kit is still unknown in some corner of the world, somewhere in the world. And because we used it and we know how powerful and how precious it is. I think we need to spread the word about it. We need to spread the word about skills. We need to let women know in a very easy way, simply by sharing our stories sometimes. We need to let women know about the thing, not only that they got skills, but that there is a method to use them. There is a way to use them. There is a way to achieve the childbirth you long for. And you know, we start with women, but then we spread this word amongst this message amongst the whole world, because women live in a family, and then families are part of a community, and communities make the whole world. So we start with women, and then we develop this message through the whole world. And in particular, I believe that when we start from women, then we nourish the future generations as well. Because women who went through an empowered childbirth, wherever the kind of childbirth, they know they can be in charge of it, and they will pass this treasure to their children. For example, I am committed to do it with my children, but it's because the pink kit really becomes a lifestyle. It becomes your lifestyle. So it's very difficult not to share it with your family and with your children. So really, when you experience something in your life as woman, wherever the experience, that experience becomes part of you. That experience flows in your bloodstream. It becomes part of your DNA, and you pass it to your children and then to future generation. And so you are not simply empower yourself through this experience, through this knowledge, but you really empower the world, the humanity.
We're coming to the end of our talk, and I just am so moved by just the beauty that comes out of you, and the desire to reach out to other people. I mean, I've dedicated my life to the families who created this because we knew how real these skills were. And they asked me to go forward and create a resource, and I have. They've asked me to keep giving the message out. People should be skilled to give birth. And I've tried to do that. And having this opportunity tonight to hear your story and to hear how having these particular skills, along with all the other skills you have, really brought something together in you in the same manner that it did with all those hundreds of families in the early 1970s. So when you talk about passing it on, in some ways they have. So I just want to just thank you again. I just want to reach across the ocean and just give you a big hug, really.
Thank you so much, Wintergreen.